Welcome to the Unstoppable Recording Machine Podcast, brought to you by Stam Audio. Stam Audio creates zero-compromise recording gear that is light on the wallet. Only the best components are used, and each one goes through a rigorous testing process with one thing in mind, getting the best sound possible. Go to stamaudio.com for more info. And now your hosts, Joey Sturgis, Joel Wanasek, and EYAL Levy.
All right, welcome to the Unstoppable Recording Machine Podcast. We have a very special edition of Mixed Crit Monday today. We're actually doing this on a Wednesday, so Mixed Crit Wednesday with one of our favorite people and mixers on earth, Mr. Billy Decker. Welcome. How are you doing?
Good morning, fellas. I'm doing great. Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday.
Are we going to drink whiskey on this or what?
We did that last night. We'll wait till the podcast is over.
All right, perfect. Well,
I feel like mixed critting would be more fun under the influence, but what do I know?
A few weeks ago, we did one where we were drinking beer and we kind of got carried away.
Oh my!
I had a great time though.
Wait, was that the one with Brown?
Yeah, the one we did with John Brown, where we did the Meshuggah tunes. We definitely had a few. It definitely makes the critiques funnier. I'll say that much. But
either that or Dream Killer turned angry. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we went into anger mode or anything, but I could definitely see how Dream Killer turned angry could happen. But I think that honestly, for me, that would be more of a whiskey thing because we had a saying on tour, which was whiskey makes tours disappear.
Oh my!
And basically, it also made things like stop signs disappear out of the ground, and I've actually seen 4 dudes rip a stop sign out of the ground. And if you've never seen that before, you might not realize how hard that is to do. But those things,
like a concrete base or something holding that thing in.
Yeah, it's.
I think that's a felony, isn't it?
Hey, I didn't do it. Yes, I think that's a felony too. I definitely didn't do it.
I'll have to stop doing that every day then.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, it just means you're strong.
I have a question for you fellas. How many people submitted mixes to be critiqued? And how did you wind it down to just 3? Pick your top 3.
You're going to be disappointed.
You're going to be very disappointed.
We have a group called the Roctagon that's subscribers only, and we usually just go through there, and sometimes it's like you click on 3 random posts, and we grab those 3 mixes, and it's Crit City.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, that kind of makes it even more interesting then, because you really don't know what you're going to be listening to, right?
That's right. It's like death from above. It's random. I just pick 3 and go, and it's cool because everyone who puts a mix up in the Roctagon knows that this might happen, and that's kind of what they agree to by posting in the Roctagon. But so they're gonna wake up one day when we publish this next week and realize that their mix was being critted by the 3 of us.
Gotcha. So for Country Month, 4 people submitted mixes. Why didn't you just do all 4 instead of pick 3 out of 4?
No, I actually think that we're going to probably have a few hundred submitting. We've had over 500 mixed submissions the past few months. Mm-hmm. And it's too early to tell right now because right now is the 12th. So we're not going to know till like the 22nd how many people are submitting. Gotcha. But people are having a lot of fun with these tunes. Which I'm really, really happy to hear. A lot of people who don't even listen to country are saying that they're having the most fun they've ever had. And I guess because the tracks are so well recorded.
Right.
That's one thing that's blowing me away about these tracks. That I put them in was just like, hit play, faders up. Oh my God, this sounds incredible.
Yeah. That's really, in all honesty, literally that's Nashville. That's what I see almost every day, whether it's a demo, an independent record, or, a full-blown major label thing. It's just I mean, we're Music City. We've got world-class studios. There's world-class engineers that have been doing this from day one, so it's fantastic. World-class gear. I mean, you name it. It's really easy and really fun to get up every day and come to work.
The standards are so damn high, and I think that should be inspirational for anybody, no matter what genre you're in, because for you that's every day, but for us that's definitely not an everyday thing. If we get a good mix that's prepped right and labeled properly, and the cymbals don't sound like they recorded in a 10 by 10 room on like $50 microphones, that is a great day. Like, you call the engineer that did the work and you're like, thank you, you're my favorite, let's work together again.
Yeah, the worst thing I may get is maybe one mic, like the snare bottom mic, might be out of phase or something like that, which is almost irrelevant. That's like,
ooh, so unacceptable.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that'll ever happen. Other than that, it's like great. I mean, it's never distorted. The tracks are never damaged or weird waveforms or crack. I mean, a lot of times it's even cleaned up. Even when I do a demo, it's cleaned up, ready to go for me, just to mix a demo. That's how much prep work they take. So it's really cool and fun to work here.
It's really eye-opening, and it goes to show that everything that we've always said about taking the time to prep everything, how the engineering makes a huge difference into how good of a mix it's going to be. The better the source, the better the final tone, all that stuff. How arrangement makes a big difference in the mix, like all that stuff, which I've been preaching literally since day one of doing this educational stuff. Sometimes it gets lost with the metal stuff because some of it's not recorded great, or sometimes the arrangements aren't awesome because everything's like in the same range or whatever. But like now doing these country tracks, it validates all of that, because it's a perfect example of all those things coming together: arrangement, songwriting, engineering, editing, prep work. And that's why you can just bring the tracks in, faders up, Unity, and it sounds almost done.
Exactly. Good point.
So we ready to rip some mixes or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first up is by our subscriber Fabio de la Luz, and this is his version of Rodney Atkins' "These Are My People."
When we grew up down by the railroad tracks, shooting BBs at old beer cans, choking on the smoke from a Lucky Strike somebody lifted off of his old man. We were football flunkies, southern rock junkies, cranking up the stereos, singing loud and proud to give me 3 steps, Simple Man and Curtis Low. We were cool. Got some discount knowledge at the junior college where we majored in beer and girls. It was all real funny till we ran out of money and they threw us out into the world. Yeah, the kids that thought they'd run this town ain't running much of anything. Just loving and laughing and busting our backs, and we call it all living the dream. These are my people, this is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't have it any other way. These are my people. Well, we take it all week on the chin with a grin till we make it to a Friday night. And it's church league softball, holler by the back call, preacher breaking up the fight. Then later on at the Green Light Tavern, well, everybody's gathering his friends, and the beers are pouring till Monday morning, and we start it all over again. And these are my people, this is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't
All right, that was by our subscriber Fabio de la Luz, Rodney Atkins, These Are My People, and man, what a catchy song. But I thought those balances were weird. What did you think, Decker? This is I want to defer to you first because you are the expert.
Yeah, well, I'm far from that. I got a lot of people fooled, but here's my 2 cents. I would say I don't dig, and I don't think the artist would, the big harmonizer on the vocal too. There was some weird spatial effect he had on that lead vocal, and instantly I was like, whoa, what is that? Also, I think Fabio really needs to work on compression and limiting just on each individual instruments to get the whole mix up louder. And he definitely needs a lot more bass in that.
Did you think that the balances were kind of weird? Like, I was hearing the acoustic guitar, for instance. Like, the acoustic guitar on the left was just, like, equal volume as the vocal, almost. It was almost sounded to me like the vocals were not up on top of the mix like I would want to hear in like a pop song or something. I almost definitely feel like the vocal was kind of like riding underneath some of those background or supportive instrumental elements at times, and that kind of bugged me. I felt like that was more of like a metal move than because sometimes when you have certain types of vocals in metal, you want to maybe you don't put the vocals up as loud as you would in a vocal heavy genre like this. So that kind of bugged me a little bit. But
I think what it comes down to, for me at least, is that he needs to do a much better job of prioritizing elements in sections. For example, maybe the vocal drops out and then the mix is kind of static. Like there's a couple of instruments and little fill-ins there, and the ear can only pay attention to a couple of things. I think the max is about 3, and so everything else is kind of filler. So you got to pick like what's the main element and what's the supporting element and what's kind of just there in the background as hanging out, not doing much other than just being background music. So when he keeps the elements all up front and there's a lot of different things going on, there's too much stuff competing to draw your attention. So, in each little section, because of the density of a track like this, and there's all these little fills and different instruments and different parts that come in and out, this extra ear candy, it makes it really hard to balance the mix because there's a lot of things you have to prioritize, and what might work in one section when you hit a transition or a different section may not work there. So that's something I thought that he really needed to spend a lot of time working on, was highlighting the correct elements in each section that need to be the star when they need to be the star.
That sounds about right. I just had trouble wrapping my ears around it because it was that effect on the lead vocal threw me when it came in, and the mix was so low in volume.
Yeah, he needs less. I agree. Like the whole verse reverb, it kind of came in and it's got a very distinctive type of reverb delay kind of sound thing, and I think it needs a lot less of that. It definitely kind of didn't gel with the track, if that's the best words for it. So it was kind of like, here's the vocal, here's the track, but the vocals kind of sounded like near a different ambient space than the rest of the song.
I want to key in on something that you've been saying, Billy, because if I'm correct, you don't master your own mixes, right?
How about on the major label stuff, not usually. I send that off. But on the indie stuff, a lot of demos, stuff like that, I do. Just because when these people are going in for their song pitches at record companies and whatnot, loudest wins. I know that's not necessarily politically correct say, but
it's true.
When you're coming in after another songwriter to pitch their songs, if yours is bigger, wider, deeper, the person sitting there listening all of a sudden takes notice and goes, oh my, boy, that's...
Hey man, you got that LeBron plug-in or what, Billy?
This is a perfect situation for the LeBron plug-in.
Is that the Infinity one?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I mean, you could just go download it for free, but I'll send it to you anyways. You just LeBron the mix next time, and you're guaranteed to have the loudest mix. Period.
It literally just turns it up 6 dB.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, so what I was curious about what you were getting at with volume, because normally when talking about mixes, we're not critiquing the overall volume, but are you talking about having a a pseudo mastering chain at the end, or are you talking about the individual, getting the individual volumes of the individual tracks up and just having a louder mix pre any sort of mastering chain?
Both, to be honest with you. And when we do the Nail the Mix at the end of the month, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I use a lot of compressors and limiters, but I use a little bit of each one rather than just using a couple and smashing them. I use a little bit from each one, and it just seems to sum up and make the whole mix just kind of grow. And then by the time I get done, I'm bringing down my master fader because everything is so hot. I know that's probably backwards and wrong, but I've just been doing it for so long that way that it's just, I'm comfortable. But if I hear something that isn't like jumping out the speakers at me, I have a real hard time going, okay, let me turn that up and let me start digging through the mix. It's almost like I expect it. You know what I mean? If I pull on a CD off iTunes or just pull up any tune, there's a certain quote-unquote professional standard you're just used to hearing, and that, to me, that just equates with knowing how to use compression and limiting the right way.
Definitely.
Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, because a lot of times you'll hear a demo and it's like, I get people sending me stuff all the time just going, hey, can you put your ear on this? Tell me what you think I need to work on. And it just sounds like somebody was messing around in a home studio and just pushing up faders and didn't really know how to get the full dynamic range out of something, and really make it pop and hop. And I'm like, well, here's a good barometer. Turn on the radio or go to iTunes and download your favorite song and put it side by side. Does it sound like that? Is it as wide? Is it as deep? Is it as big? Is it as loud? Look at the waveform, Most of the time nowadays, you look at waveforms and everybody looks like just a piece of duct tape because that's what we're so used to looking at.
I love it.
And if your mix doesn't look like duct tape, turn the damn thing up if you want it to be that way. If not, then don't do it.
So we've just established one thing here, just to set the record straight publicly. While the rest of the industry is trying to combat the loudness wars, Decker and I are still trying to win it.
We need, along with my kick drum sell records, we need some kind of duct tape slogan.
Absolutely.
Duct tape mix, duct tape AF.
There you go.
Well, that's why I guess we didn't know this at first, but it all comes together. It all makes sense now. We have duct tape in our logo for Nail the Mix. We have had it all the time. Maybe that's what we were doing without even knowing it. So, all right, let's move on to the next mix. This is by our subscriber, Michael Nolasco.
Shooting BBs at old beer cans, choking on the smoke from a Lucky Strike somebody lifted off of his old man. We were football flunkies, southern rock junkies, cranking up the stereos, singing loud and proud to give me 3-step, simple man anchored us slow. We were billion old. Got some discount knowledge at the junior college where we majored in beer and girls. It was all real funny till we ran out of money and they threw us out into the world. Yeah, the kids that thought they'd run this town ain't running much of anything. Just loving and laughing and busting our backs, and we call it all living the dream. But these are my people, this is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty,
All right, that was subscriber Michael Nolasco's version of These Are My People by Rodney Atkins. Joel, what do you think?
Holy shit, dude. Kick drum frickin' city. Is this a country song or a kick drum solo? Because I couldn't tell, man. This kick drum is just cranked and it is super metal. I feel like this guy took Billy's advice when he said kick drums sell records, but reality is like this kick drum I don't think is going to sell too many records. I don't know what you guys think.
I would say first things first, clean up your intro, meaning let's cut out the clicks and the talking and whatnot. You never want that unless it's like a special effect or something. But I mean, we got to put a tail or a head and a header and a footer on this song with a fade. So definitely clean the top. You want to get rid of all the talking, the clicks, the garbage. And then he used another effect similar to Felipe. It was almost like a doubler or something on the lead vocal. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell what it was. I just hear all kinds of weird vocal artifacts in there, like almost like there's something weird doubling the vocals.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was, and those are cool. A lot of times, if I do a pop thing, I'll do the doubler thing. Not so much in country, and if you do want to use it, half that level. So you can use a doubler, but just use it on like an acoustic guitar, not a vocal. Most people in this genre usually stay away from the doubled lead vocal electronically. They'll do it real when choruses hit. A lot of times I'll get a true double or a true triple. You know what I mean? You've got the lead vocal and then you've got two doubles that have been lined up and are the same thing. You can hard left and hard right them. But the fake stereo spread thing, yeah, use it real sparingly. That's my, I guess, best advice on that thing.
I believe in using that real sparingly, period.
You guys think this mix is kind of on the thin side?
Yeah, it needs a little more low end. And once again, that whole compression limiting thing, just, dude, if, best piece of advice to get you going, just grab, if worst case scenario, get an 1176 plug-in, open it all the way up, as slow as it'll attack and as fast as it'll release, and just start hitting everything probably 4-to-1 and add a couple dB of compression on everything. You'll be shocked at what that'll do. That'll at least get you going. You know what I mean?
Good Absolutely. Starting point.
Yeah, and keep you out of trouble. Then you can start messing with your attack and releases for different instruments. But just to get going, just throw it on there and start getting your volumes up and some warmth and some squish on some stuff.
So I noticed a couple more things, and I'm going to not repeat the stuff that we already said that was in my notes, but so the bass felt way too mid-heavy. Like I almost felt like he was trying to get that mid-range of a bass that you kind of try to dial in on a metal song to come out. So I'm hearing that a lot more than like the low end of the bass. And I also feel like if I was a common layperson who couldn't identify what instruments were in the mix other than the basics, I would tell you that this was pretty much drums, bass, vocals, and shaker. So, like,
there's one more element though that you missed. What about those odd left-panned harmonies that just show up?
Yeah.
Super
yeah. But see, a layperson wouldn't point that out. But yeah, I noticed that for sure. That there's that those left-pan harmonies just come in and out, and they are really, really loud. And then that shaker, which I believe is on the right, is like, at times it's so loud that it sounds like it's the only thing in the right channel. I know it's not, but like it's so loud. So much shaker.
You know what else is funny is, I explained this to a couple people, but when this album was made, I actually didn't mix These Are My People, the album version. They had me remix for radio. So the one everybody heard on the radio is the one I did. The one that showed up if you bought the physical CD was a friend of mine named Julian King. He actually mixed that. And then I mixed the rest of the record. So, and what's funny is I listen to Nail the Mix and see everybody talking about the metal thing. Everybody's all way into samples. Kicks, snares, toms. And I use samples all over the one that I did for radio on this song. And every submission that I've been hearing so far or seeing, nobody's using any samples at all. They're trying to mix just the real drums. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you guys are like sample kings here, you know?
All right, so it's funny you bring that up. Let's just say that in the metal community, there's something called sample guilt.
Okay.
And I don't want to get into political or sociological terms of what I'm basing that off of, but there's a lot of self-imposed guilt that metal dudes throw around about the use of samples. Like, there's a lot of shaming when it comes to samples. I don't understand why.
Really?
But like, there's this weird, Joel, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, fuck I know.
There's this weird,
I don't get it. Like, I don't get it either. Samples.
That's my favorite part of the format is the drum sounds. I love the sampled sounds. You know what I mean? That's what makes the format the format. That's what separates it, in my opinion.
I agree. Dude, I agree. And not just that, they're pretty damn necessary. I mean, here and there, you will get a really badass metal mix where the guy's like, I didn't use samples. And you know what? In the Taylor Larson Nail the Mix, he barely used them. I mean, barely, and it sounded great. So, I mean, you can do it, but it's a minority of mixes in metal that get away with not doing it. It's got to be recorded just right, and the mixer's got to be a fucking ninja. But, like, even so, they just add so much power and consistency. And that's what this genre needs in mixes, is power and consistency. But there's just this stigma that it's cheating. And I don't know where that started, but
wow,
it's not cheating, as we know. And
dude, I'd sample a jazz recording. I don't care. Like, just biggest, baddest drums. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that a lot of these guys are...
I literally do not mix without them. And I've been asked a couple times, and it's hard, really hard to mix without samples and make it sound good.
And then you just sample them and don't tell the band.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to know unless it's like, unless you're not adding any dynamics to ghost notes or something. So I think that they probably think that they need to try to get it all natural, and they're forgetting that what they really need to do is to get it to sound great.
Yeah, doesn't care how you get it there, just make it sound awesome. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Man, I hope all you sample purists are listening to this, and you can put your guilt aside and just try to make the best sounding mix possible.
EYAL, you just created an SJW problem. Sample justice warrior. It's about to happen. Dude, it's unavoidable.
Oh my God.
Screwed.
I've never seen an award given to like best mixed album without samples, best mixed album with samples. It's just best album. I mean, to me, that's just idiotic. It's like, make it sound good. Seriously?
Oh my God, it's great.
That kind of reminds me, back when I was starting out, I had the same type of shaming. I jumped on Pro Tools before a lot of other people did, and made it my format. And boy, I took some heat for mixing records in Pro Tools
as opposed to mixing them on
a console. Yeah, same exact thing. It was almost like cheating, and I got shamed and all that. And I'm like, hey, you can laugh all you want, but I'm laughing all the way to the bank, and I'm getting home at 5 o'clock at night. So I'm gonna keep doing this. And look what happened. Almost everybody mixes in Pro Tools now. There's still consoles. And there's still consoles that people mix on, obviously. But I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, I'd say over 75% of the music these days is mixed in the digital format on a workstation. True? False?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Probably higher than that.
Yeah. So see, who gets the last laugh?
Well, dude, it's a very, very similar sort of thing, and people just are this way for some reason. It's like amp sims versus amps, Mac versus PC, samples versus not, digital versus analog. It's so annoying. It's like people are forgetting what's important when they make these arguments, which is your output and your workflow to get to that output. That's all that matters. Is your workflow good, and does it allow you to make the best possible final product? And if so, it's awesome. And is your final product great? great. Who the hell cares how you got there?
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, cool. Let's move on. This is by our subscriber, Johnny Ragin.
Well, we grew up down by the railroad track, shooting BBs at old beer cans, choking on the smoke from a Lucky Strike somebody lifted off of his old man. We were football flunkies, southern rock junkies, cranking up the stereos, singing loud and proud to give me 3 steps, Simple Man and Curtis Low. We were good, you know. Got some discount knowledge at the junior college where we majored in beer and girls. It was all real funny till we ran out of money and they threw us out into the world. Yeah, the kids that thought they'd run this town ain't a-running much of anything, just loving and laughing and busting our backs, and we call it all living the dream. But these are my people, this is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't have it any other way. These are my people. Well, we take it all week on the chin with a grin till we make it to a Friday night. And it's church league softball, holler about a bad call, preacher breaking up a fight. Then later on at the Green Light Tavern, well, everybody's gathering as friends, and the beers are pouring till Monday morning, and we start it all over again. And these are my people, this is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't have it any other way. These are my people. We fall down and we get up. We walk around and we talk tough. We got heart and we got nerve, even if we are a bit disturbed. This is where I come from. We're giving this life everything we've got and then some. It ain't always pretty, but it's real. It's the way we were made, wouldn't have it any other way. Oh no, these are my people. Yeah. Woo.
All right, that was by our subscriber, Johnny Ragin, his version of These Are My People by Rodney Atkins, and definitely the best one of the bunch, don't you think?
I agree. Johnny...
I don't have a lot of notes.
Yeah, he knows how to use compression, EQ, the spatial elements are real good. I did notice one thing. On my end, what I was listening to, and it may have just been a bad MP3 burn, but is this mix distorted?
Oh, that's what I heard too.
Okay. Yeah, hey, Johnny, tip I learned from a producer engineer here in town that's been doing it for a long time. The only time you're ever going to hear distortion is at low volumes typically. So a good thing to do is if you're mixing loud and proud, a lot of times it'll get by you because you can't hear it. So hit the dim button on your console or your workstation, turn it down real low, and if you're hearing little crackles, lower that 2 bus, dude. Bring everybody down. That would be my best advice is to monitor loud, get the bass, feel it, and then turn it down and just make sure it's clean before you send it out, because you don't want to have to, say for instance this was actually going to the artist or the client, and say they are taking it right over to the record company. You are as good as the last thing anybody hears, so you can't afford to make a mistake. Dude pops it up in his record company and, hey, listen to Johnny's mix, we just tried him out. And the president of the record label's like, that's distorted. Johnny is not working for us ever again.
And it's just that brutal.
Yeah. So just remember, you're as good as the last thing you've done. Take the extra time, do good work, make sure it's clean, follow all, get your music, your get everything that makes you happy, and then go back and make a checklist of all the technical things that aren't going to snag you on your way. Make sure it's not distorted. Make sure the intro's not clipped. Make sure your fade is clean. Make sure there's no noise at the beginning of the song. No pops in the vocal. Make sure you go through and declick stuff. Just do yourself a favor. You know what I mean? And approach it like this is the last mix you're ever going to do every time you mix. And trust me, it will pay off.
And these are all things that you can fix within like 15 minutes.
Absolutely. And it'll keep you working for the next 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, man, I didn't really have too many notes on this one.
I have a couple of small things.
My main thing was the distortion. And I hear some pumping. And but really overall, I wanted to say pretty good job, man. I feel like you're approaching good mixes here. And basically working out these last few elements, I'm going to start to have some pretty good stuff here.
Yeah, so he's got a future as a mixer. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think so too.
Yeah, good job, Johnny.
So what did you think, Joel? What were your things?
I'm going to be the nitpicky knob, huh?
That's all right, okay.
So I thought the acoustics were just a pinch too muddy, and some of the dubs that were coming in, the mid range was masking a little bit. So something would pop in for a second, and then it would be like all of a sudden there'd be a huge influx of mid-range, and then it would kind of add a little bit of like a layer of a sheet of cloudiness to the mix. So you got to watch that kind of stuff, just the accumulation of the mid-range, especially when you're dealing with a lot of dense elements, and there's so many different things and little pieces of ear candy, and then suddenly something comes in and it has just a little bit too much mid-range, and then that just accumulates and compounds across all of the other elements in the mix. So that was the main thing, and again, I'm just being nitpicky here. The other thing I thought is he should watch some of the hard pan dubs, because they're pulling away the attention from some of the vocals, meaning he had a couple of the candy elements I feel like a little bit too hot at certain places, and when it comes in, it pokes out of the speaker too much, and it kind of like, I'm listening to the vocal, all of a sudden I kind of drift off to like that left or right speaker, and I'm like, oh, dub, and then I'm back to the main line. And I feel like in a song like this, because it's meant for radio, you should just be like laser focused as a listener solely on the vocals. You shouldn't be jumping around with your brain and your attention and your concentration if the guy's singing. So it didn't happen often, but every once in a while.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with you.
Am I allowed to say what I would do to fix some of those, or should I save it for Nail the Mix?
No. Please say what you would do. So
as far as that muddiness Joel was talking about, for country acoustics, a lot of times they're doubled. So I'll get a mono guitar, and then dude will double it and play the exact same thing. So most of the time I'll hard pan them left and right. And I always put a high pass on about 125, and then around 240, 250, I take about 6 dB out and just carve that out, because that's where that muddiness seems to be. A lot of times everybody in town puts mics on the neck and on the body, and so I'll get 2 mics per pass. So if that makes sense, I'll actually have 4 mics, 4 tracks of a stereo. And I usually kill the necks because they're too bright, and I like the body, but I always have to chunk some of that low mid out that Joel was talking about.
It's interesting that you say that, because every single time that I've tried doing 2 mics like that on an acoustic, I end up ditching the neck mic.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I just think the body sounds good. And everybody always uses those thin pencil mics. I forget, KM84s?
KM84s,
yeah.
So they always put one on the neck and one on the body.
Now, I will say this. There are times when I have put a KM84 on the neck when I'm recording an acoustic that I know is going to go as a layer behind a wall of distorted guitars. And in that case, it tends to be a good choice because it's easy to just cut out all the low end anyways, and just when you just really kind of want the pick attack, really, to kind of like it's just a background element, and you really just want almost the texture of the strumming. In that case, I've noticed that the KM84 works really nicely if I know that if I record it with the mix in mind. But in general, if there's going to be acoustics playing by themselves, I find that it's almost too thin sounding.
Gotcha. And as far as those background vocals jumping out, I always, and I'm sure you guys probably do too, but I always subgroup all the background vocals and just clamp them down. I've got a compressor with kind of a super fast release and a medium attack, and then I can speed that up if they're all over the place to clamp down. And then I'll literally hit them with an EQ, another compressor with a slower attack, and then I'll put that Ren vocal on and lock it down, and then I'll usually put a limiter on it after that, and then 2 de-essers.
Hell yeah.
They ain't moving, you know what I mean? So that way, if a lot of times people come in and they won't realize that I'm putting the background vocals through a sub or busting them through a channel that's just got them locked, and they'll be like, yeah, go ahead and just turn those backgrounds up like 1, and I'll take my background channel and I'll lift it up like 6 dB, and they're like, whoa, 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 or turn it down that much. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. They're getting like just crushed in that thing. So in order to really either lower them or get them up there, you got to just either feed them in there super hard or lower them, 6 dB.
I got to introduce you to L1, man. I got a much better setting. You got to use all those plugins. You just take the bar, you grab it, go all the way down, and then close the plugin.
Dude,
that's what I do on the 2-bus. I don't need that on the background vocals.
I love it.
There's my duct tape.
I love Renvoc, by the way. I love that plugin.
Yeah,
that is a good plugin.
That's a lifesaver. So I use that on lead vocals too.
That used to be one of my go-tos, and for some reason, I think someone made fun of me, like someone I respected for using it, and then I stopped using it.
Oh,
and then,
really?
A long time ago. But then I came back to it and was like, why did I ever listen to him? This plugin's great.
Oh yeah, I love the one knob things that you don't even know what they do. They just do. Those are the best.
As long as it sounds good.
Yeah. And then when somebody asks you what it is, then you can make up this super cool thing that has to do with like, oh, it goes through ball bearings and the flux capacitor, and then it does all this. And then they think you're either an idiot or really smart. All you do is pull one lever down. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, but you would be amazed because I've seen lots of people pull the lever down on L1, for instance, and just totally botch it.
Really?
Yeah, so...
I have a trick. I haven't disclosed it, but that's why. Only I know how to use it correctly.
All right, I want to know what this trick is. But, Billy, thank you so much for coming on Mixcrit Monday and sharing your expertise with us and critting these mixes.
Well, hey, guys, happy to do it. And like I tell everybody, I don't know everything, but I probably know someone who does. So I can always get an answer.
If you guys liked what you heard and you want your chance to mix this song by Rodney Atkins, These Are My People, and also get a live mixing class from Billy Decker, as well as mix Drive Me Away by Jess Moskaluke, Take It On Home by Genevieve Fisher, and Think of You by Chris Young and Cassidy Pope. Sign up for Nail the Mix this month, April 2017, at nailthemix.com/Decker. You'll get the multi-tracks for all those songs. Get to enter our competition for a STAM Audio Engineering 1073 MPA dual channel preamp or SA73 single channel preamp. And these are Neve style, and they're badass.
Dude, how sick of a prize is that? Can I just interrupt
pretty great.
you? I kind of want to enter the mix competition incognito just so I can get a pair of STAM audios.
They are pretty great, and everyone I know who owns one says nothing but great things about them, so should Hey man, you get Neve style preamps as a prize for doing a badass job mixing and having fun.
You can never have enough Neve in your studio. It doesn't matter if you have a rack of 1084s. You could always add like one or two more. There's always something to use it on.
Yeah, there's never enough Neve.
And as an added bonus, how about Billy Decker takes a stab at mixing Cognizance? And
That's right.
I'll let the metal kids critique my mix. How about that?
Yeah, so just as a show of love for our metal audience, because, hey, I mean, we primarily do rock and metal. We threw in a metal song just for fun, by British death metal band Cognizance with Alex Rudinger on drums. Song is called Aeon of Creation. You can look it up on YouTube. And it's pretty damn speedy stuff. And Billy will mix that one as well. It's a bonus. And it'll be fun. What can I say?
It'll be awesome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, fellas. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, can't wait.
The Unstoppable Recording Machine Podcast is brought to you by Stam Audio. Stam Audio creates zero compromise recording gear that is light on the wallet. Only the best components are used, and each one goes through a rigorous testing process with one thing in mind: getting the best sound possible. Go to stamaudio.com for more info. To ask us questions, make suggestions, and interact, visit urm.academy/podcast and subscribe today.